Hello and welcome to another episode of our podcast, Culture
Cuddles, where we talk about experiences of people living and loving abroad.
Yay! So today's topic is education and how it works differently in different countries, obviously.
Ooh.
For our background, this lady here is Vietnamese and was growing up and getting educated in Vietnam until her bachelor degree. Then she moved to Germany, where she finished her master degree. I, on the other hand, was born and raised in Germany and was just enjoying German education system. And I'm already very scared of how I explain you the German education system.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a nice topic because we're going to tell you guys how different it is for us to study in these two very different places. And I started to go to school in the 2000. You went to school in around 1995 when I was born, something like that. It's an old time. And at that time, Vietnam was still pretty poor. And I was from a village, so it's even poorer. So the experience, the education I have over there is widely different compared with what German boyfriend have had over here. So it's going to be fun to talk about for sure.
So should we just start like how it worked, like to give an overview?
Yeah.
Like in Germany, for example, you usually go to school beginning with 6 years old. And then you start at grade 1. You go to elementary school for 4 years.
4 years, not 5 years?
4 years.
In Vietnam, we do 5 years of elementary school.
In Germany, you go everywhere for 4 years, despite of Berlin, of course, because in Berlin you go for 6 years to elementary school.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 4 years of elementary school in most German. And then you go to a secondary school and we have 3 different, actually we even have more than 3 different types now, but like the 3 basic ones are like the Hauptschule, which is like main school or basic school, the Realschule, and the Gymnasium. So at the Hauptschule, you stay until grade 9, then you graduate. At the Realschule, you stay until grade 10, and at the Gymnasium, usually you stay until grade 13.
So
and
confused.
Just when you finish the Gymnasium, you're able to go studying afterwards.
Okay.
That is like your qualification that you can go to a university.
Well, in Vietnam, we go to elementary school for 5 years. Then we go to secondary school until grade 9. And then high school is from grade 10 to grade 12. And we do have 3 different kind of tier of school as well, just like you guys. But over here, the teacher decide who go to which school, right? The teacher will say like, okay, you are not going to be capable of handling this much academic life. So you're going to do this and that. But in Vietnam, we have national exams. And then we just take the exams just once in your lifetime. Every time, like if you finish grade 5 and you want to go to a good school, you take the exam. And if you pass, you go to the good school. If you don't pass, you go to a medium school or something like that. And in high school, you do the same thing again. And if you want to go to the university, basically everybody have to take one exam, one big exam of your life. And that grade alone is going to determine whichever the school you can get into. But I think they changed that now because I think that was really brutal for the students. 12 years of studying decided by just one exam day, it's just too much. Yep. So.
Uyen actually still has until today, at least once per month, a nightmare about that exam day.
Exactly. But let's start talking about elementary. When German boyfriend was doing elementary school, he has like pictures day every year. His teacher brought him to have a day trip to a cities. They have science, they have props to study. But when I went to elementary school, at one point, my school doesn't even have a floor. So when it's rain, it's just full of mud. We have nothing. We basically just no facility, no whatsoever. So when I talked to German boyfriend and he experienced, I thought he's an alien or something. It's just so different compared to the wealth of Germany and Vietnam at that time. It was really crazy. Okay.
But like, what does that mean? Like, did you have books?
Yeah, we do have books. but we have to buy a book by ourselves. The school doesn't provide books if you don't have it.
Yeah, that in Germany is the problem is that like the school politics is basically a matter of every state. But in my state that I was growing up, we had the books for free.
Really?
Yeah.
You have free books?
Yeah. So
Damn.
we, like the school had kind of a library, and on the first day of school, you walk there, and then every student gets like a German book, a maths book, and so on.
Wow.
And then on the last day of school, you walk back to the library, and everyone gives them back.
Well, no, we don't have free book at school. And the problem is, at my time, I feel like every year our book get reprinted and updated.
Oh no!
And sometimes there was like some year recently when they changed the book completely, almost every 2 years or something. So it was really hard to keep track of. So they don't really do that.
Maybe we should compare subjects. Maybe there's already a difference. Like we had German.
Yeah, we have Vietnamese, of course.
Maths.
Yep.
And then we had music.
Yeah, we do have music too.
Oh, okay. Arts.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we had like one subject where we were like learning how to knit or to.
Yeah, we learned how to cook at school.
To sew.
Yeah.
Saw. So what's the name?
Okay.
To cook in elementary school already?
No, we don't use knife at that time. But we do have a subject to learn how to cook. But because we don't really have anywhere to cook, so basically we just learn how to make flour from carrot. What is the most important subject at school for you guys at that time?
Well, German and maths, I guess.
In Vietnam, it's just math. Math is the king subject until you are finishing school. Famous university, they really care about the math score. So everybody try to learn math really, really hard over there. I don't know. I didn't really enjoy my time studying in Vietnam because it was really stressful. And I don't feel like German boyfriend have the same pressure like us in Vietnam.
Already in elementary school?
Yeah, because studying is the most important thing you have to do.
Oh, God.
And even from elementary school, we already have extra classes after school. So we finish school at, let's say, 1 or 2, and then there will be extra classes. At that time, it's mostly about how to write in the most beautiful way. And that's why, you know, if you met Vietnamese, many of them have perfect handwriting because at the elementary school, teacher focus really hard on teaching you how to write the best thingy thing. And we have a lot of competition about that too.
Are they already able to write and to count and read when they go to?
In the first grade?
Yeah,
mostly. Even in kindergarten, mostly we just learn how to write and count and read anyway because there is no place to play. Because even in kindergarten, we have no floor, you guys.
Well, you don't necessarily need a floor to play.
Yeah, but it's also very unsafe. We right next to a pond, like 2 ponds next to the kindergarten. And it's just one teacher who's also a farmer. All of our teacher is also a farmer because they cannot live with just a teacher salary. So
they have a field behind the school and then they grow stuff there.
No, everybody have a field at that time, and then after school they go to the field and they work in the farm. But honey, being a farmer in Vietnam is not a full-time job. Like they don't go to the farm every day. But anyway, we only have one teacher for kindergarten. We have basically just some toy like the dough. And basically nothing, and it's very unsafe there. So basically the teacher keep us inside, and we learn how to sing and dance a little bit, and we learn how to read.
That's really sad because when I think about my elementary school time, I just remember like a lot of playing and a lot of fun, and I don't know, learning so many new things in a fun way, and yeah. Going on a lot of trips, going to the zoo, preparing like a circus show for the parents.
I hope the kids nowadays have better experience than me. I'm pretty sure they do. Can't just talk. So you guys have to remember that this video is my experience. It's been years ago. So probably they changed something.
Yeah, hopefully.
But yeah, I think so. Now they have money. At that time, there was no money at all. So basically, they just need to find a place to put the kids so they can go to the field. So they don't really care much. But yeah, that's making me very sad because those school play and stuff like that. I think it would be a very nice experience for parents to go there and see the kids singing and dancing and everything. But for my parents and for many parents in Vietnam, in the village, that is just basically waste of time. They don't see anything else rather than sit down and studying is helpful. So if you go to prepare like a singing part for the school, because we do have activities like that. Sometimes we would sing and dance for like a ceremony or something like that. It's basically waste of time. The parent never expect to show up to see us performing, and they always think like, oh, what are you doing? Just go study and things like that. What I don't really like about studying at that time is that a lot of them is just basically memories, and you have to memorize it word by word, many things. I don't remember my teacher encouraged us to do a lot of critical thinking and speaking up about our opinion. Every time when my teacher show up and before she start teaching, she would call randomly 3 people come up and then stand in front of the class, and she would ask some question about the old lessons. And basically you have to memorize what happened and what did you write down in the notebook, and you have to basically say that. Otherwise, you fail. So it's a lot of memorize that I don't like. Do you guys have to memorize that?
No, I don't feel like it was much about learning stuff by heart. It was more like about understanding things. Like, for example, if we needed to learn dates, sometimes that was the case. But then it was more important what happened there and what it led to. But not so much,
Are you guys allowed to date when you were in elementary school?
There's no rule against that. So
there's no rules against that?
No, of course.
But did they
not.
date at that time?
What you talk about elementary school?
No. Secondary school.
Secondary school, yeah, of course.
Did they kiss at school?
I mean, there were even some crushes already in 4th grade or something.
But did they allow to kiss at school or something?
It's not forbidden.
What?
I don't
really?
know. Why would you do it in front of a teacher anyway?
No. I mean, like, do you do it like in general at school, like physical intimacy, just like touching hands?
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Puberty.
Damn.
Puberty.
In Vietnam, it is crazily taboo. If you are, even when you're in high school, like dating is a very taboo thing. And secondary, don't even dare to think about it. Parents would go crazy if they heard that you have a crush on someone or you act on it or something. It still happen, obviously, because kids, but we have to be very secretive because very few parents support that because you have to study mostly. Also, we have to wear uniform, and our clothes and the way our hair and our shoe has to be very, very, there's a lot of rules on it. Like you cannot dye your hair, you cannot wear ripped jeans, you cannot, anyway, you have to be modest when you go to school. That's the rule over there. But I don't think it's the same for German kids, right?
Like there are some rules for, what you shouldn't wear or what it would be too inappropriate and stuff, but it's not very much. And I also don't remember that in my school time it was ever necessary that a teacher was saying something like, "You're not dressed properly, you go home."
We even have dress codes in the university sometime. Like I remember one time there was one of my classmates, she wear a dress and it was a little bit above her knee. And I think there was a male teacher and he didn't like that. He said it disrespectful, he kicked her out. He was like, "You're not allowed to wear dress in my class." Imagine that.
There's also no uniform in Germany. I don't know, we didn't mention that because,
Do you have to pay anything when you go to school over here?
No.
Like
just
not at all?
Very, very few private schools.
But like not at all? Do you have to pay like anything at all?
You don't need to. You need to pay for your, like the books that you write in. But as I said before, like even the books you get for free. Wow. Like in our state. In the neighbor state, you needed to buy them.
Well, we have to pay for tuition fee in Vietnam, even like started from elementary. It's not a lot, but I mean, compared to our income, it was quite much. I remember every time when it comes to paying tuition fee, my parents was pretty stressed because that was quite a lot of money. And that was a pretty stressful time for most of my classmates because they were now, all in the same boat as well. And seeing the teacher also a farmer and they also need money at that time, they opened a lot of extra classes so that we can learn more math and more science, and you have to pay for that, and that is really expensive. So actually studying in Vietnam is very expensive. I feel like that compared to the income, especially when it comes to paying for extra classes. English, for example, English classes is crazily expensive in Vietnam. So we earn less than you guys, but we pay so much for education over there.
How is it with languages, by the way? Like we were talking about subjects before. When do you start learning English?
I started learning English when I was in grade 6, so 12 years old.
I started in 4.
Really?
Like there was like a voluntary class.
Yeah.
Once per week in grade 4, and then in grade 5 it was a real subject.
Yeah. But the thing is, I don't think the teacher in my school was really good at that. So we were studying English until grade 12 and I couldn't speak English at all. Many of my friends doesn't understand a word in English as well. Mostly I learned English from an English center in Hanoi when I went to the university. But nowadays, actually, they change a lot. They actually, in the big city, they hire foreigners to teach in public school as well to improve the student English. And it works really, really well because they know the importance of English. So people really care a lot about it now. Okay, let's move on to high school then. High school was the worst time for me. I hated it so much. It was horrible. I was in full puberty mode. It was so hard to like dealing with friends at that time already. But the studying, I go to school at around, I wake up at 6, I went to school at around 7, and I went home at 11 in the evening.
That's crazy.
I went to school from, I think, 7 until 1 or like 12. And then from 12, I have a break. And then either I go home or I eat there. So that from 1, I have extra classes at school until 5. And then I have like a little bit of something to make me myself full. And then I go to extra classes at my teacher house until 9. Or sometime until 10 if my teacher feel like teaching. And then I go home by myself, super late, every freaking day for 3 years, you guys.
That's crazy.
And then remember, after I eat at like 11, I still have like homework to do. So I stay up. I don't do much homework. I was pretty lazy. I couldn't do that. I couldn't deal with that anymore. But you kind of have to stay up either late or you sleep and you wake up at 4 to study. So you are going through puberty and then you sleep for 4 hours per day for 3 years. And that is basically the way to get into a university over here. At that time, it was really, really tough. And studying in high school over there was really hard as well. So if you don't study, you're going to see the result immediately. If you don't study, you're going to fall back behind so quickly. So either you study or you fail immediately. Yep. How was your high school over there, honey? How many girls did you date? And how many countries have you visited during your wonderful high school? Tell me.
Yeah, it's something that we call like full day school. So our class ended at 4. And then I went home and usually had no homework anymore.
Really? You had no homework for high school?
Because it's like a full day school. So like the idea behind is that you make all of your homework already in school and that you don't have as much homework as those on the other schools. Like, yeah, it was a fun time. And there was definitely enough time for still joining the Scouts and enjoying my life there. And I really cannot imagine, like, because you described it, you were in full puberty mode. And there to force yourself to do things that you don't like is already hard enough.
You know, I think I was pretty bright, like when it comes to study. So I was doing quite well until grade 9 because you do have to study, but it's not that hard yet. If you're smart enough to understand what's going on, you can go through that. But I was doing really bad in high school because I couldn't deal with the amount of schoolwork and pressure anymore because I don't see myself as a super diligent kid with just sit down and do homework after homework after homework. I'm very easy to lose attention. And also, I think if I live in another country like Germany, I would be thriving in Germans or like Vietnamese, you when you write things like a novel things. Because I think I would be more creative in that sense. But because I was in Vietnam, being creative in writing was not really encouraged at that time. So I had to force myself to do math and physics and chemistry, and I was really, really bad at that. And I was really not doing that well in high school, which stressed my mom out so bad. But the funny thing is, the moment you pass the exam to get to the university, studying in university in Vietnam is a breeze. And I would like to ask you about that because studying in Germany for a bachelor degree was really, really hard. It's actually hard, you guys. They kick students out left and right. In Vietnam, when you get in, basically you will get out. It's really easy compared to the freaking high school. But tell me about your university experience.
Where's light, there's always shadow. In university is free in Germany.
Yeah.
So, the thing is they get money from the government per student that they sign in. So they accept way more students that they actually have space for. And then in the first exams, they need to sort out those that are not good enough. So they take a lot of students in, and then they have those exams, and then in those exams they have like 60% of failure rate.
But like, to be fair, I think it's a nice thing. They take a lot of students in to give them a chance. Some of them would thrive in that environment. So, and some of them would not. So they take them in to give them a chance, and then they kick them out when they're not fitting so that they can go to another place.
And I mean, also university is not something for everyone.
Exactly.
Because it is completely self-controlled. Like, you make your timetable by yourself most of the time, and you decide when you need to learn and study. And sometimes lectures, for example, don't have attendancy lists or something. So you go there or you don't go there. And when you don't go there, then no one is telling you like, oh, but you should have. No, you will see that at the end with your results.
And over here, you fail 3 times, you get kicked out of the school, and you are banned from studying that subject again.
When you're lucky, because many also, like, you fail 2 times and then you get kicked out.
Wow. Okay. Ooh.
Is university time a party time in Vietnam?
Yep.
Yeah?
Because we don't study much, so we party a lot.
Really?
There's a lot of clubs that you can join. There's a lot of different friend group you can join. If you live in big city, there's a lot of place to eat, karaoke, a lot of things to do, a lot of people to date.
Okay, but that's cool.
Yep.
So that's pretty similar with Germany.
Yeah. And you know that studying university in Vietnam is more expensive than in Germany nowadays, because they started to privatize the university in Vietnam. So each semester in a normal university, you pay roughly 500 to 600. So in a year, you pay like 1,000 euros.
Okay.
Over here, I paid, at that time, I think I paid 300 euros per year.
But it's not really a fee. It's like contribution.
Yep.
And then it goes to supporting students' dorms and university and canteen food.
Exactly. I paid 2.07 € for awesome canteen food in Germany. It was subsidized by us paying 300 euros per year. It was awesome.
When I started studying, it was €1.60.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But everything got more expensive, of course. But like, in the beginning, it was €1.60.
I love German university. I mean, I was studying master degree, and honestly, I feel like the master degree is way easier than the bachelor degree. It was hard, and we have the same problem that you said. We have to basically organize ourselves. Nobody's there to help you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was not like everybody is feeling left and all right. And I don't see many students getting kicked out of school like in the bachelor degree. So if you ever think of going to Germany for studying, maybe go here for the master degree. The bachelor degree is really, really tough. When I moved to Germany and I start doing master degree here with a bunch of Germans, what I really admire about the Germans is that they are not afraid to speak up. Like just speak their opinion. And when the teacher asks something and they have a question, they answer. And they were super eager to answer too.
We really got encouraged for discussing and for expressing our opinions. And if we gave a wrong answer to an answer that has a right and a wrong answer, then no one was making fun about us most of the time.
Yeah, that's the right way to go.
If our fellow students made fun about us, they got into trouble.
Really?
Oh, no, they got scolded. Yeah.
It's really good because I feel like it shaped you because I don't have that kind of skill. So I don't really know how to express my opinion eloquently, and I don't know how to handle people having different opinion like me. Because at the beginning, I just thought, okay, you don't agree with me, we're going to fight now or something like that. It was really difficult to accept that people have different opinion, and it is okay to calmly express yourself, and you should learn how to express yourself. That was a skill that I was not getting taught, and I'm learning, but I feel like kids should be taught that.
Yeah.
Would you want to go back in time to study again? Anything? Go back to be a student again?
Yeah, actually. The thing is, I really enjoyed studying.
Wow.
Because I was studying the subjects that I really liked.
Wow.
And like that was super cool. Also like being with the professors and then sometimes doing some actual research, going to field trips and stuff. That was pretty cool. What I hated was exams. Because like there was always so much stuff that you needed to learn, and then you need to throw it all up on your freaking paper.
Okay.
And get your mark. And it was really... that part I didn't like, but the studying itself was super cool. Right?
But you see, like, you think that it was nice and you want to be a student again. Nobody could pay me enough to become a freaking student again. Ever.
In Germany or in Vietnam?
In Vietnam, for sure. Nobody would ever pay me enough for me to become a student there. In Germany, you
met a lot of nice people there.
It was a good chance to meet people. It was nice to study. I learned a lot, but it was really stressful as well because, you were grown up now. If you fail, you have to get back to your country and then you bet your whole life there for that. You guys, I went through so many physical stomachache. I have to go to the hospital because I was so stressed here. I do not want to do that as well.
She needed to do a stomach scan thingy because we thought something was wrong, and at the end it turned out it was just a stress.
Yeah, anyway, I would not want to become a student again. But
and you were also very sad when COVID hit and there was no
just online lesson
in attendance anymore.
I think this is like hitting to the end of the episode, and it just, I don't know, it's just going pretty negative, going downhill, and at the end it's just like, you can be a student, but I would not want to be a student again.
I'm pretty sure that in other countries, there's still way other stuff going on.
Yeah, let us know what is going on in your country when you were a student. And if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe to our podcast, our channel too.
Please tell us what you hated about your time at school.
Okay, I would love to hear that. Anyway, thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Culture Cuddles is produced by Yilmaz Hummel for Uyen, Ninh and her German husband-to-be. This episode was produced by Niklas Stündel and Freak Sitter. To submit your own story for the podcast, go to culturecuddles.com.